Who's it going to be coming into 2023? Nico Marchiol or Garrett Green? Well, I've got Couz here to debate that with me on the other side of the intro on this episode of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football.
This is for Cameron. Cam.
What is up and welcome in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul. This is another edition of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. We're glad you landed here, guys, and I've got Couz with me talking about the quarterback situation in Morgantown. I think it's going to be a hot topic, probably the number one topic of conversation in the offseason. And Couz, what are your feelings just generally about our quarterback situation? How do you feel about it? Is it something that you're excited about, something you're apprehensive about, somewhere in the middle?
I would say in the middle because I am excited because this is the first time since Neal Brown got here, actually even before Neal Brown, really going all the way back to, gosh, I can't remember the last time we had a quarterback that we recruited from high school that started the season for us.
Before
It's been a
Dana,
while.
just
Yeah.
about.
So
Seems like
Geno Smith,
Skyler was a transfer.
Skyler was a transfer. Clint Trickett was a transfer.
Yeah. Were we talking about Jarrett Brown?
Jarrett Brown, maybe. Geno Smith. Geno Smith would be the
Geno
last
Smith
guy.
has got to be it. Yeah, you're
So
right.
it's been a long time since West Virginia went into the season with their starting quarterback, game one, being a guy that was recruited out of high school.
Yeah.
Two guys that chose to be at West Virginia from the get-go. You got a guy like Garrett Green, who was one of Neal Brown's first recruits, if not his very first recruit when he came in to Morgantown. He kind of followed. He was recruiting him at Troy, and followed that recruitment to West Virginia. Then you've got Nico, who Neal's also recruited in the 2021 class, or I'm sorry, 2022 class. He seems like he really loves being at West Virginia. So you've got two guys who seem to love the school, two guys that chose to play for Neal Brown and his staff, even Sean Reagan for that matter. So, especially actually both guys chose to play for Reagan because I think Reagan was one of the lead recruiters on Nico, if I'm not mistaken. So you've got two guys that want to be there, two guys who I'm sure are excited to battle it out for the starting role, and I think both guys have a lot to offer. So I'm excited about it.
Same here. Obviously, both are different skill sets. Both have some of the same skill sets as well. I think both throw really nice deep balls. Both, you saw Nico throw one in the Towson game, rolling to his left off platform. So we saw Garrett Green throw 3 touchdowns in a half. They were all deep balls, all to Sam James in one half, all deep balls. It was really nice. So they both shown the ability to be able to do that. But that's not the point of this debate. This debate is we're going to draw a line in the sand this morning. We're both going to pick a side, just for debate's sake. May or may not be who you think it's actually the best player is, may or not be who I think is. But we're both going to take a side, and we're going to give our side on who we think should be the starter coming into this season. Couz, tell me why Garrett Green should be the starter in 2023 for the Mountaineers.
First word that comes to mind is experience. He's been there. He's done it. He's been in the program now. I think this is going on his 4th year, if you count the COVID year, plus a redshirt year. So he's been in the program a while. He knows Neal Brown's system. He knows Neal Brown's philosophy. He knows the playbook for the most part. Now, obviously, we know that can change here and there, but I just, he's been in there when the Bulls are flying, at least more frequently or more times than Nico has, obviously. So I think that matters. If there's one position on the football field where experience matters, it's definitely the quarterback position. 2, I love the fact that, Neal's talked multiple times, and I love the fact that he's going to be more of a run-heavy offense, it seems like. Run-first offense, at least. I think Garrett, even though Nico can run the ball when needed, I think Garrett is more of a run threat. He is actually a guy that defenses will have to scheme for and plan for, maybe even put a spy on in games. And when you have to do that, like going back to our interview we did on my channel with Tony Franklin, the complication that adds to a defense is a huge advantage for an offense. And I think Garrett Green adds that. I'm not sure Nico is dangerous enough with his feet for a defense to actually have to scheme against it. You know what I'm saying? Or put a spy on him or something. So I think Garrett's just more dangerous in the run game, and we know he can spin it. We've seen videos on Twitter of him working out in the off season. I mean, he's got an absolute rocket for an arm, man. One of the strongest arms I've seen in recent memory.
A lot like Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, I mean, he can flat out spin it, man, and he just has a cannon for an arm, and I love watching the kid throw the football. Tight spiral. I just love his spiral. So I just think all those things, but I think the number one reason is just experience. To be honest.
Yeah, and I'm going to touch on a couple of things I like about Garrett before I move on to Nico. Um, I love his arm too, and the one thing he has to improve on is intermediate throws. Right,
Mm-hmm.
that has been something of an Achilles heel for him. He can throw the screen passes they ask him to do within the framework of the offense. He can throw it deep with just about anybody, but it's the touch passes, the intermediate throws that he has seemed to struggle with in the past. Now, he's had some time to work on this, and hopefully Sean Reagan has helped with that. Having him back will probably be something that's really nice, a little boon for him. And yes, absolutely, Garrett is a much more dangerous run threat as far as breakaway speed, as far as explosiveness goes. I 100% agree with that. The reason I think Nico is the guy personally, um, obviously not a lot of experience at the college level. He's got the win over Oklahoma State to his credit, which was the last game the Mountaineers played. So it's probably the freshest taste in Neal Brown's mouth. Obviously, only 4 pass attempts in that game. He completed 2 of, but they were big. They were big throws, especially the one over the middle. It was a rainfall was just nuts that day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've said this over and over again. To my eye, he reminds me of Tim Tebow when he runs the ball. He's similar to Tim Tebow. He's a good athlete, but he's more of a bruiser. He's probably going to put his shoulder down and try to run over you. And one thing he has that Garrett doesn't is weight, and the ability to absorb some of these hits that I worry so much about with Garrett. And I was kind of proven right a little bit last year when he got injured. It just worries me about Garrett. If Garrett can learn to get down and avoid hits, there is an art to it. Lamar Jackson did it for a while, all through college and through 4 or 5 years in the NFL, till it finally caught up with him. But certainly in college, you would think a kid can learn how to avoid the hit. Well, Garrett hasn't done that yet. He plays with his hair on fire so often that seems like that has become an issue for him. So maybe he can figure that out. If he does, Nico's going to have a real battle on his hands. I think because Garrett can stay healthy, he's going to be hard to unseat because he's so dangerous. And if he gets that intermediate stuff fixed. But you look at the production that Nico had in high school against really good talent in Arizona. He threw for over 8,000 yards, threw for almost, counting his rushing scores, 90-something touchdowns in a career. Just an amazing career he had. Obviously beat one of the best teams in the entire nation, scoring 17 points in less than 3 minutes to win a game. He's got that. He's got that about him. He's got some kind of it factor. You can see it when he speaks. I love Nico Marchiol, and I want him personally as our quarterback. I think it would be great as far as the perception of the team. I think he's one of those guys that national media would pick up on, and it would be great for our school if he was our guy, in the national sense. And also, I just like what he has, man. I really think he's got arm talent for days. His running ability is not Garrett Green's, but I think it's good enough. I think they could definitely run an RPO style with him. You think of Jackson Dart and the kind of running ability he has, and I think Nico can do something similar to that.
And he probably can. I just don't think he's going to be ready to do it now. He's going to be a redshirt freshman, and Neal Brown has to win in 2023 or his job. He's probably done at West Virginia. And is he willing to take a chance on a redshirt freshman going into State College, Pennsylvania, against a top 10 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions team? That is an absolutely massive, massive risk. And I'm just not sure Neal's going to be willing to take it. Neal's not been known as a major risk taker. We know that. He's very conservative in his approach most of the time. I mean, we saw later in the season he started going for it more on 4th down, things like that. But as far as overall major decisions go, like who to put in at quarterback, things like that, he's never been a big risk taker. And I'm just not sure if he's going to be willing to make the risk. This is assuming that both guys are at least similar in spring camp, spring ball, and obviously all season and everything else. If they're even close, I think Garrett gets the nod. I think the only way Nico gets this job is if he is head and shoulders above Garrett in practice, and I just don't see that happening. Not that Nico's worse than Garrett from a talent perspective. It's just from experience, from knowing the offense, comfort, all that stuff tied in together. At the end of the day, I think experience wins out. And I mean, that's just and in this win now situation, I don't think you can risk a redshirt freshman quarterback. I just don't.
Great points, all. Mountaineer Nation, what do you guys think? Drop a comment below and let us know. Who do you think should the starter be coming into 2023? Who are you hedging your bets with? Is it Nico Marchiol? Is it Garrett Green? And also, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel here at Mountaineer Paul Talk Football and Couz. Let everybody know where they can find you at, social media, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on YouTube at Couz's Corner, at COUZ' Corner. Find me on Twitter at Couz206, Instagram at Couz's Corner 206, and on TikTok, which I rarely get on, but you can find me over there at Couz's Corner as well, for those of you who venture into the TikTok land every once in a while.
Yeah, and if you'll forgive the basketballs, that scrolling across the bottom of your screen is Couz's Twitter handle. And obviously, if you just type Couz into YouTube, his pretty little face will pop right up. He's got himself quite a following going over there at his channel. He was actually my big inspiration into YouTube. Just a down home country boy from West Virginia that's doing this thing, and he kind of had let me know that maybe I could do this. Certainly, the way he professionally made it look didn't make me think it was going to be easy, but there were some others out there that made me think it would be. I'll tell you that. I won't name any names, but so really grateful for Couz, and really grateful that he got me into this. It's been fun. So
thank you, man.
Really appreciate that.
And don't forget our basketball channel, Hoops from the Hills.
Yeah,
check us out there. That's hence the reason for the basketballs. But yeah, check us out at Hoops from the Hills if you like West Virginia Mountaineer basketball. And once in a blue moon, we'll touch on other basketball topics related to the Big 12. But yeah, check us out over there too. We need to get that subscriber count up as well.
Yeah, actually, yeah, Hoops from the Hills, guys. We're actually going to be going straight from here to there to record a video on the Auburn game coming up this Saturday. So it's a big game for all of us in Mountaineer Nation. So hoping the Mountaineers can get a win there. Couz, any last words you want to say about this quarterback battle? Anything else you'd like to mention?
No, I just, regardless of which guy gets the job, I'll be okay with it because I'll have confidence that they were the best guy for the job. I'm just excited that we have some new blood, so to speak, and we know regardless of who wins this job, we will have a guy who can run with the football, which is something we've all been wanting for the last 2 or 3 years, and it makes me a little bit more optimistic going into this season, more so than what I probably would have been had we not had these two guys in that room. So yeah, that's it.
And
that's really it.
And like you said, if Nico does win this thing, that says a lot about Nico, right? That means he went out and probably won it, and we probably have something to be really excited about for Neal Brown to take a chance on him to take his job on it. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Like I said, drop a comment below, man. Let us know. Are we right? Are we wrong? Is Sean Boyle going to be the guy? Maybe that's who it's going to be. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. Really appreciate you guys being here. This has been another episode of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. Couz is out. I am out.
This is for Cameron. Tim.